Should we talk about the whistleblower from Apple, or
We
what?
should.
Because we got a bunch of other stories too.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. Sure.
So the reason I thought this story was what is this? You know, there we go.
Nothing.
The reason why I thought this was something we absolutely had to talk about is because we had just done a big segment where I was like, they're not spying on you, they're not listening, they're just predicting your behavior.
Right.
And now we have this guy, he's a whistleblower, slamming Apple for wiretapping entire populations. Oh.
So they really were.
Yeah, no, they definitely were.
They
Yeah,
really
for
were
sure.
listening.
You know what? And
Wow.
I should clarify too, because I think I was absolutely inaccurate in phrasing everything I was saying about the spying.
Okay.
They are spying on you, and I think to clarify, they know exactly what you're going to do. A lot of the ads you see are not because they're spying on you, but because they predict your behavior. Mm-hmm. They also do spy on you.
They're also spying on you.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stories about like the Amazon device, whose name I will not say because it'll start talking.
Yep.
Recorded a conversation, and apparently law enforcement wanted access to the recording, and Amazon was like, no, and people were like, wait a minute, why is there a recording of this?
Yeah.
It's like someone got murdered.
Yeah,
it's
I remember
always
that.
recording. And you try to explain to people, how do you think it knows when you say its name? Because it's listening to you.
It has
you
to
know?
listen. Kinda
And
makes sense.
so what people don't understand about how these devices work, because this is Siri in this story, it used to be very early on, it would be like, say this phrase 3 times, and then it would try and create a profile for you saying it.
Okay.
And it never works.
Yeah.
Because it'll be like, you know, the phrase will be like, you know, computer activate or something, right? And then one day you're like tired and you go, computer activate. And it won't recognize you, because when you first said it, you're like, computer activate. And because you say it differently, it won't work. So the way they do it now is the microphones are on. When you talk, it's constantly sending what you say to a company to turn the text in the speech into text until it gets the command, and then it activates.
Right.
It's really funny with like the Amazon device. There's a whole bunch of words that you can say that are not its name that activate it.
Right.
So long as they have the same vowels in the same order.
Okay.
So it's like, that's why it frequently turns on an accident, because it hears something close enough, then boop. But let's see what's going on. A former Apple contractor revealed the firm's grading project last year. Thomas Lee Boniek worked under a Siri grading project that gathered snippets of audio in order to improve the smart assistant's accuracy. Last year, Leboniek revealed to The Guardian that while working for Apple, he heard private and sometimes intimate recordings, including medical discussions, criminal activity, sex, and official business talks. The whistleblower had initially remained anonymous, but has revealed himself in a protest against the lack of action taken against Apple for violating fundamental human rights. And he has done so with an open letter to European privacy regulators stating his concerns. I just had a horrifying thought.
Oh no, what?
What if Alex Jones was right about everything?
Everything?
Everything!
That's a bold statement, though.
He was
Not-
right about the frogs.
He's said a lot of things.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah, he said a lot of things.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true,
kidding,
too.
by the way. Oh,
Wait,
man.
what about the frogs?
YouTube's finger over the ban button. Get ready to...
Oh, the frogs?
Yeah.
He turned the frogs game, man.
Yeah.
That actually happened?
Atrazine.
Yeah. Atrazine. Okay, so atrazine in the water makes frogs less likely to reproduce.
Okay.
Well,
So-
it's a complicated story.
It is complicated.
Oh, is it complicated?
And
Tim?
I think it has been partially debunked, but there were initial studies showing that atrazine was mutating the endocrine systems of frogs.
Okay.
So they would have like their ovaries would become testes ovaries, or hybridize, making them sterile or something.
Okay.
And so, you know, Jones in his entertaining rage yells,
Hyperbolic
"They're
way.
turning the freaking frogs gay." You know,
I'd be
I'm-
mad too. I love frogs.
I am kidding about him being right about everything, but the point I'm trying to make in saying that is, right now, we are under what's essentially a nationwide lockdown.
Yeah.
People are being arrested for organizing protests. The First Amendment is gone. New York says you can't protest. Sorry, shut up. Meanwhile, people in New York City are jumping on top of cars and twerking and simulating sex. Not exaggerating. There's photos and videos popping up of this stuff.
That's
And the
crazy.
cops don't do anything about it. So we're literally watching everything fall apart. Big business is taking over.
Yeah, it's like they want all the businesses to close. It's like part of their agenda, it feels like.
I'm not implying everything's intentional, but I'm just saying, like, all of these horrible government overreach things are happening. No one's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Apple is spying on everything you say. You're tracking every move you make. Boy, it really feels like all of these novels just merged into one and then just happened overnight. It was like,
Man.
what, 3 months ago? 3 months ago, life was normal.
Yeah, we saw movies.
Yeah. Complained about
Yeah.
Trump all day.
Yeah.
They tried to impeach him.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Now it's like, now they complain about Trump, but they've also locked us in our homes.
Yeah.
You can't escape them complaining about Trump.
And they still pitted on Trump like it's his fault still. It's like
Well,
he's like telling everyone we want it open. Like, well, let's open it up.
But there's a disease.
Right.
There is, yeah.
So
This is true.
so okay, hold on. We got a disease pandemic. We got big tech spying on us, social media censorship and thought manipulation, algorithmic manipulation to control people can see and hear. So you got the government locked on top of that. Yeah, I think we hit everything. We got Brave New World, 1984. Got a little bit of Animal Farm if you go back a couple decades.
I guess so.
Yeah, yeah, we did it. Is that
Yeah,
was that
good
the
for
goal?
us.
That's a joke I'm making with Jones though. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that their map of what was going to happen was correct in terms of like who's responsible, but we're going to end up now quarantined, mandatory government injections, shut your
man.
business down.
I still can't believe that's real.
I mean, but we could argue just Dershowitz is a nut.
True.
But you know what happens after this is all over? Some estimates say 40% of businesses will never reopen.
Yep.
And there's a study from Axios saying 100,000 businesses have already permanently shuttered.
Wow.
Those people are going to go work for big corporate chains afterwards.
It's the only choice they have.
Yep. Good
Yep.
work.
Yep. Yeah. Let's read a little bit more about this here fella. He says, there's not much vetting of who works there, and the amount of data that we're free to look through seems quite broad. It wouldn't be difficult to identify the person that you're listening to, especially with accidental triggers, addresses, names, and so on. The letter which Labaniak sent to all European data protection regulators states, it is worrying that Apple, and undoubtedly not just Apple, keeps ignoring and violating fundamental rights and continues their massive collection of data. I am extremely concerned that big tech companies are basically wiretapping entire populations, despite European citizens being told the EU has one of the strongest data protection laws in the world. Passing a law is not good enough. It needs to be enforced upon privacy offenders. Labani held a subcontractor position at Apple's Cork offices, where he listened to snippets in both English and French until resigning in 2019. They do operate on a moral and legal gray area, he told The Guardian at the time. And they have been doing this for years on a massive scale. They should be called out in every possible way. He continued to say that he would listen to thousands of recordings every day and have a range of Apple devices, including iPhones, Apple Watches, and iPads, any device that included Siri. Here's a question. Are you always listening? I only listen when you're talking to me. Mm-hmm. Aren't you always talking to her if you're saying her name?
Yeah. She thinks you're always talking to her. That's the loophole. There you go.
This is actually a really hilarious story. You know what? I'm also on the verge. I'm so close to myself. Firing up a hot bath, lighting some candles, and just laying back and just
Setting the house on fire.
No, just relaxing, lower the blood temperature, the blood pressure a little bit. Like, here's a guy who a year ago said, "Excuse me, these big tech companies are violating our rights." Shh, they did nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Did nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I don't know. It's not really surprising. It's like they can pay to all these big companies. They're just paying the appropriate people to just continue on doing what they're doing. It's like, what is the average person supposed to do? What can they do? What can we do? What is it?
If
Talk about
I
it?
said anything, we would be banned instantly. The stream would be cut off.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
why I'm saying Boogaloo is on the horizon.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
You feel like there's nothing you can do.
I agree. Boogaloo.
You've got people listening to you bang your significant other.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying.
It's messed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like intentionally listening.
Yep,
It's
and
not
then
even
tracking
an
it for
accident.
improving it.
Improving it. Oh my gosh.
I don't. At this point, I wonder how much stress the people can take.
Yeah.
It's interesting because with the Boogaloos of the past, we haven't had the internet and mass spying, and the security apparatus of the state hasn't been this strong.
Right.
Now it's insanely strong.
Yeah.
But we do have
strong.
in a lot of areas the police refusing to enforce these rules.
Yeah, in certain states.
I shouldn't even call them rules.
Which is cool.
Decree.
Yeah,
So
decrees.
arbitrary.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's only a matter of time, I guess, before there's lines drawn between the mindless drones. Like New York City cops, I think, are the worst. They really don't care about the Constitution.
Yeah. They
really don't.
They really don't.
Small town cops, sheriffs, and local departments seem to.
Yep.
I'm surprised about the Belmar Police Department where they're doing this, and I have no respect for these mindless drones. I guess somebody associated with the gym said they're being forced to do it. That's just absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Forced to violate the Constitution. What is it? What? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, you got to make a choice, man. If someone tells you to break the law and you do it, you're responsible. Not the person who told. I mean, you could argue the person who told you to do it is responsible as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I guess people are just going to keep defending it until we run out of food. And that's what it's really about.
Once the food goes, then it doesn't matter what they say. People are going to riot.
Yeah.
Yep. So maybe there won't be, though. Maybe they know that. Maybe they're just like, we'll just send food to your house. I don't know. It's because people need more than they need purpose. And now that people have none, they're getting antsy and they want to get back to work.
Yep.
Like, oh. A part of me feels like it's going to blow over, right? They're slowly reopening things.
Yeah, we keep saying that, though. And then a day goes by and something else happens that proves us wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I want to believe it, too. I really want to. You know, I want to be happy and jolly and live, and I want everyone to feel happy and satisfied in their life. You know, I want that. But there's people out here that feel like, it doesn't matter what you think. We're gonna do what we think is best for everyone, and you're gonna sit and take it.
They're burning down their own cities. They're burning down their own states.
You know, I wrote that song "Find Yourself" like 5 years ago, and man, listening to the lyrics, reading the lyrics, like singing it, I'm like, man, it is so relevant now than ever before. It's insane.
What's it about?
It's about people taking control and telling you what to believe and what you believe is wrong and what they say goes. And are you just going to sit there and swallow it and take it, or are you going to stand up and for your rights? You know?
Oh, that sounds like dangerous thinking, Adam. Let's just stick to your work and
keep your head down, man.
Your head down.
Start a boogaloo.
Oh man, I don't think I'm going to be the one who starts it. They're doing it to themselves.
They're kind of asking for it.
That's what it feels
in
like.
many states, life has remained the same.
Yeah.
Like people who have locally sourced goods probably haven't noticed a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's the big cities that are the most heavily impacted.
Yep.
It's also the big cities where the people mostly want to stay locked down. I think it's because these are, you've seen the Hunger Games.
I have.
You have the Capitol, and like everyone in the Capitol is like wearing weird clothes, and they eat too much, and then drink Ipecac, vomit, and then keep eating again.
Yeah.
That's how like gluttonous they are. Those are the cities. It really is. These are people who the example I like to give is the bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Living in New York, you've got all these bridges just there.
Yep.
Never watched them be built.
Taken for granted.
Never did any work for them. Never built them, like paid for it or anything. Just there. I don't got to think twice. I don't got to pay anything.
Yeah.
It's just there for me. And so all of these people live in a world where they think things should just be there for them. And that's where they're at now. They're like, okay, we're not working. I mean, man, you know what? So many jobs in New York are not real jobs.
I agree.
Like, what's a good example of a fake job? BuzzFeed writer.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a fake job.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like a club promoter.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a job, but
No, that's a real job.
Okay.
That's a real job.
Sure.
Letting people know about libations and dancing and relaxation.
Sure.
That's a real service for somebody.
Okay.
People need to really, let off some steam and
Yeah,
go,
okay,
relax,
I could
right?
see that, yeah.
A fake job is like scouring the internet to complain about what was that article we saw the other day? Ivanka Trump saying the word taken.
Mm-hmm.
One
and then
word,
writing
yeah.
500 words about how it's alt-right and dangerous.
Yeah.
That is not a real job.
Okay, I can agree with you there.
So now that these people are no longer working their fake jobs, they still think things should just be given to them. So they're sitting in their cubicle apartments demanding the government pay them. And it only lasts so long until the government says no.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the people who live, out in the middle of nowhere, who have already, when we were driving to LA,
Mm-hmm.
we stopped in this town. I think it was in Arizona. I can't remember the name of it. No social distancing, no lockdown. Fast food chains were open. It was a very small town, by the way. And I went in, to get stuff. I had my mask, but I was like, nobody's wearing a mask. Nobody cares. So I grabbed some coffees. I grabbed, a sandwich, something, and I was paying for it. And I said, nobody's wearing a mask, no lockdown. And the lady laughed and she goes, no, we don't care about none of that. And I was like, really? You're not worried about getting sick? And she's like, nope, don't care. And I was like, what about, supply chain stuff? He goes, oh, we're all preppers. I started laughing. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, the only thing we're worried about is when the power goes out. And I was like, does it happen a lot? And she goes, happens. Yeah. So we all have generators. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
Those people were ready.
Yeah. They did not care. That's self-reliance, because they have a town where they're like, we know where our food's at.
Yep.
It was funny. This lady told me, she's like, everything went down. My husband turns to me and says, do you think we have enough toilet paper? And I started laughing. And I was like, we're preppers. She's like, we've got like 3 months worth.
Yeah.
And she laughed about it. Like, why would you even ask? I thought that was hilarious.
It's funny.
Yeah. So what happens to these cities? Like they're just decaying.
Yeah. I mean, if the food chain really does get disrupted, cities can't really exist anymore because it can't support that many people. Farmers that already have farms, that know their neighbors, that have trade systems that will be naturally built up, that's going to be what's going to survive. You know, big cities, people are just going to riot and then leave to go find, land where there is food.
Is this like a natural occurrence for like a country where it's going to purge the left? I don't mean purge in like end their lives. I mean, the ideology is going to be crushed. And this we've already talked about this, like social justice stuff has been really, really pushed aside.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, the culture war has now become about lockdown versus, opening up.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.